You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition Podcast. Welcome to episode 7 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies. My name is Travaris. We're here with Zoe.
Yo.
James.
Yo, what's up?
And Cleveland.
What's going on?
James gave us the yo, what's up, like he was on the loop. Y'all remember the loop?
Smooth joint. Yeah.
The loop was my joint.
The loop was like for little loose boys and girls.
Yo, wait.
That was telephone social networking.
James, you talking shit.
Yo, nah, the loop was definitely my joint, man. You would call up, you had a little voicemail joint set up, people to leave you voicemails.
Uh-huh.
Got that special dial-in number.
I didn't have that
standard before the internet.
I didn't have that. Y'all know I'm behind on that, but the loop to me was the loop in Woodbridge. That's the loop.
Oh my God.
Yeah, anybody who know it from like Central to North Jersey, like that's my loop, the loop in.
Zoe talking about when he could drive. We're not talking about when you can drive.
I didn't drive then.
This was like middle school.
Yeah, the loop was like, it was like a dirty 1-800 hotline, but for like your neighborhood.
Yeah. I hated the loop, yo, because my voice was so high when I was young. People used to call my house thinking I was my sister. The loop didn't work for me too well.
Nah, you used to be in the loop like, I didn't even know Tina gave it up like that.
Yeah. Yo, did y'all ever, was there ever a thing with walkie-talkies? Did you ever use?
No, that's some Pacific shit.
Yo, that might have been some Pacific stuff, but you would buy walkie-talkies that were like a 3-mile range. So you were talking to people within like a 3-mile range of you.
But strangers?
And you would just put it in like your scan, and then you'll start pick up conversations.
Stranger.
And then you just start talking.
That's that dirty myrtle.
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
That was a Pacific thing, I guess, but that was definitely a thing. This is before people had cell phones like that. So we just used walkie-talkies. Them joints was like $12.
My experience
was 3-mile radius. That's a good price. That's a bargain.
Yeah. Them joints was cheap. You get one of them walkie-talkies.
My experience with walkie-talkies is go meet up. Then what? He slipped down in
there. Now, our version was the closest thing to walkie-talkies after that was the chirp.
The chirp, boy.
So you remember when we was setting up for the Crimson and Cream pageant?
You lost your phone?
Bro, I lost. Not only did I lose my phone, that phone was like the shit, first of all, but it was there for like 3 months. And then Zoe was unloading the trunk. Bro, yeah. I was hot. I was hot.
Wish you had find my iPhone back then.
Straight up, found my Nextel, my church.
Right. That shit was crazy. And if Zoe was good with technology back then, I would have thought he stole it. But Zoe ain't give a fuck about no Nextel.
Nah, yeah, no, that's a fact though. That would have been a good one if. But then you like, nah, this nigga, he don't even know how to do it.
So didn't I make your Facebook for you?
Yes, you did.
Oh wow.
Right after we crossed, Var said, "Yo, I'm tired of this." He got right on the computer, my big ass Dell that I had in the dorm, and he was like, "I'm setting you up a page right now."
Because I used to be like, "Yo, what's going on over there?" Like, nigga, it's happening around us, but you just don't even know. It's like this invisible shield. So like, how you know her? Like Facebook.
I'm gonna tell you why Var really did that too. Because he got tired of me asking about what's going on there, and yo, who's who, what. But even for Kappa work, he's like, yo, I'm not gonna be the only one posting flyers, goddamn. He's like, right. Here go your page, and you post the damn flyer too. I'm like, all right, you right.
I was such a late bloomer with social media. I had somebody else set up my MySpace page, even though
MySpace.
Nah, I was about to get into that.
Yeah, I had somebody else set it up. They had my wallpaper. They had the little things falling from the sky, the little Kappa diamonds falling down the screen. I'm like, yo, my MySpace page.
Oh, you had your MySpace page was popping post Kappa.
It was popping post Kappa.
Yo, that's how you know you've been in the game for. If you had MySpace post Kappa, you've been in the game for a minute. Yo, I had MySpace. 15 years. I think my senior year in high school, and then my freshman year in college, and that was a wrap after that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, James, your freshman year, we was online.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, that's true.
I know.
And then if, like I mentioned before to the listeners, that's when James was shooting about 75% from the field. So
it's a different day. It's a different day.
He didn't need. I mean, we ain't got to get into AOL and like screen names.
Yo, oh my god, my away message was always, what was it? I'm trying to remember. It was something about save water, taking the shower, something like that. Basically, inviting people to come try to take a shower.
Yeah, James violated all the rules.
Like it was like something really retarded.
So let me just start by saying this podcast would be successful if we do not get canceled. I'm just gonna start there.
These are all past. This is previous past things. Nothing crazy.
Nothing at all.
A long time ago.
But that was a good walk down memory lane. So yeah, now we're gonna get into how everybody's week was. Zoe, let me hear about how your week was. I know you had an eventful one.
Yeah. So we went camping on Friday to Sunday.
Who's we, first of all?
The wife, the kids, other couples and families, the Nelsons, the Hendys, James and his wife.
And I can't be the Coreys, like.
You're here, fool. Like, why would I say that? Like, you about to go next.
Real apprehensive. Like, I'm not sure their paperwork is clear.
Word up, right? Like,
I mean, I was in the wedding, but like, I ain't seen nobody sign that.
It was in Mexico, it don't really count.
I ain't seen no New Jersey paperwork.
Oh man.
So we went camping. That was interesting. It was my first like real time camping. Obviously that's not something culturally that is what we
Black people don't camp, bro. That's the facts.
I mean, at least not up here. Maybe down south, but
well, not inherently. You can. I think you can learn to go camping, but like in my childhood,
wasn't a
thing. I'm not sleeping on the ground voluntarily.
It don't feel good, brother.
James learned that. He definitely learned that. So look, we had a minor Karen episode or incident, should I say, while we were out there.
It's a curse word these days.
Yeah, and the lady said a curse word to us literally for no reason while we were just like relaxing and chilling. But she was just, imagine like an RA walking around doing the rounds, like, all right, reminder, quiet hour coming soon, blah, blah, blah. This person decided to do it 2 hours prior, which is not, usually it's like a half-hour window. Like, all right, y'all, you're going to be quiet in a half hour. But she decided to come a half hour early. 2 hours early, and then say, make sure 11 o'clock is quiet hour. And then as she walks off, she tried to say it on the walk off, like she was Mark McGuire on a home run. She was like, yeah, because 11:01, I'm gonna call the cops. And we was like,
cops is definitely a curse word.
Yeah, like, come on, lady. That was not called for. Nobody argued with you. We just said, okay, have a good one. So I don't even know why you brought that up. It was really bad. I had to do like the Ron test, like we were speaking earlier. I had to walk off. I had to do take a long walk because she was about to catch one of them hot coals on the grill. And I was like, oh nah.
So she got mad at y'all. She got mad at y'all a half hour in advance for something that y'all didn't even do yet.
No, 2 hours in advance.
2?
Yeah,
2 hours in advance.
9 o'clock she did this shit. Not even 10:30, like 9 o'clock. And so not only that, when I walked off, our other couple that was with us, the husband, he came, he said, yo, Zoe, you all right? I said, no, I'm not all right. Like, you know how my shit has bothered me. So as I said that, the lady was walking by and she gonna say it again, like, oh, is everything all right? Do I need to call the cops? And I was like, that's the fucking problem. Like, I spazzed on her, like, bitch, you the problem. That's it right there. You walk right up to me, let's go. Now you done walk to the Lions then.
You can't go in my zone.
Yeah, so I still even then, like, let me still walk anyway. Like, I don't, because the kids is there and I just didn't want to really do too much. But that was crazy.
Before you continue, I need to provide context, just like with everything. Good brother Alonzo has one of his many tattoos of Incredible Hulk. So, and
Black Power. And at the time, I had Malcolm X shorts on, so she really wasn't.
She was super black.
The wrong ones. So yeah, all the things added to make that.
We need that unblack y'all right now, because you kind of do like Alan Payne too. So it's like
exactly black, and I'm bleeding black.
He got the beret or the little African kente cloth cap.
Oh, the hat. Yeah, I definitely got one of those. I'll save that for next episode. But so that was crazy. And then to wrap it up, I'm in the process of litigation against a person and a company and another person who's that other person's son. And the one guy was in his 80s, but he's a billionaire. And I got a text message literally like 48 hours ago that the person who's in the litigation lawsuit, who I'm suing for breaking my contract, has died.
That's wild.
So now that throws some things off, but it might actually help my case a little bit better. But it just was like a curveball I was not seeing. Like really.
So you know how James and Kev's line brother used to say how his professor died in college and he was going to get an A in that class. Does that mean that you win the case because homeboy died?
I hope so. I don't even know if I want to say I feel bad, but that's just me personally. But because obviously he did a lot of terrible things that caused disruption in my life. But But yeah, it was pretty crazy for me. So that's my week. I went from good time camping, mini Karen episode, and then a person who I'm suing decided that they wanted to croak.
Yeah, well, fuck him for dying, first of all. Let's start there.
That's horrible, man.
James, I know you were a part of the Karen situation, so I'll let you continue about how your week was.
Yeah. So that whole situation was weird because like I was right there when she had came up to us to tell us to turn it. She said, we got complaints about the music being too loud and that there's curse words. So can you guys turn it down and don't play anything with curse words? And literally after that, our direct response was like, absolutely, not a problem. And we were turning the music down, and not 2 seconds later, she was like, because at 11:01, I will call the police. And that's when everyone got all upset and up out of arms. And it was like, was that even called for? What was the point of that? So yeah, that was that situation. It is what it is at this point. You deal with those things. You try to learn how to deal with it in the moment. Some of us are very angry. Some of us are just trying to let it roll off our shoulders. It is what it is. But for me, that
by some of us, you mean Alonzo?
I mean, now
the person who was just talking.
I'll let him speak for itself. But now, so the whole camping thing was that I didn't buy things that I thought I would potentially keep because I was like, I'm never going to go camping again. I'm moving. I don't, where I'm going to put this stuff. I can't really travel with it. So I didn't grab everything. And one thing I didn't grab was an air mattress. So the first night I legit just slept on a sleeping bag on the floor, on the ground. Yeah, I woke up. I couldn't lift my back up. I was in so much pain. It was.
Were y'all in a tent? Were you in a tent?
He was in a tent, but it's still the ground. The tent, it's like flimsy. It's like a piece of paper underneath you.
Yeah.
And then it was so hot. Like inside that tent, it was so hot. So I was like, nope, I get this. Went to a Walmart. I picked me up air mattresses. I picked me up an extension cord. I got one of them box fans because I had electricity out there. I had that joint. I had that fan going. I had the air mattress. I bought a pillow because I didn't have a pillow. Yo, bro.
James turned that shit into a hood apartment. Yo.
How long were you outdoors for?
2 days, 2 nights.
2 nights.
Yeah.
Probably like 36 hours.
Yeah. First night was bad. Second night, I'm like, all right, I slept comfortably with the air mattress and that fan go. I felt so good. I had to turn the fan off. I got a little cold. I was like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because I always tell people if I go camping or we do any kind of outside tour, put me on a Wi-Fi tour. Wherever there's Wi-Fi, you can find me. Like if I go to a safari,
they have Wi-Fi.
Oh, they have Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
so James,
they had
there.
So they had showers, bathrooms, they had electricity. I just didn't know about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So once I found out there was a Walmart like 9 minutes away, I went there and picked some stuff up. I'm just not an outdoors person. I just don't enjoy it.
I feel you.
Get me in a hotel and I'm good to go. But it is what it is with that. Besides that, my last week of the internship, my final presentation is tomorrow.
Hey,
so
good luck.
Got through it.
It's like the end. So that's about to be over, and I actually got to decide now if I get. Well, first I got to find out if I get an offer full time from them, and then it's kind of leading that I probably will get the offer based on feedback I'm getting from my manager. I mean, he has nothing but praises to say. So if they give me the offer, I'm kind of like pushing to not move to California right now.
Oh, for real? You think about keeping it?
Yeah, I like the job.
This job is busting you. You're in an abusive relationship. Figure out what you like.
But I got to figure out the pay though. Once they tell me what the pay is, and then I determine from there. But I don't know, because then I gotta wait, because then the job don't start for a year from now. So I have to find another job. So it's a lot that's going into it. So we'll figure that out.
Nonetheless, there's still a lot of opportunity.
It's that plantation work.
I'm glad you got through it too, man, because it was killing you. You was working like 12
I didn't tell you, actually. I found out like a week or so ago that the dude that I'm working with, he actually went to Ryder.
Oh, for real?
What?
So yeah, so I was like, I was talking to him like, it's cool to see someone who went to like Ryder or within that area, because there's not many people, at this job that's from these type of schools. He was like, yeah, I know. And I found out he was from TCNJ. I kind of got excited that there was another person that, kind of relate to the struggles that we go through. Right. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That is dope. Kev, how about you? How your week been?
Man, it's been pretty good. Just been busy, but good. I was just thinking earlier today, and what's been my week like? It's been busy, man, but it's been good busy, like productive busy. You talking about with just meetings and like the nonprofit stuff I had lined up, and it's been good though, man. I can't complain at all. I'm in a good space, I would say, and I'm in a productive space, but I'm in an interesting energy place right now. Like, I don't know. I don't want to like ruin with good things that are like honestly, you know what I mean? But I'm just in an interesting vibe. But I can say I'm doing well. I can't complain. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. My family's healthy. They're stable to the best of their ability. My friends are doing good. My friends are in great spirits. They're having families, y'all blessings. So it's like, it's really nothing for me to complain about. And, I'm just trying to what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be, I think I need to just be more in present, I guess, just enjoy everything that comes with today. And I think that's
tough to do though. I think being present is not like as easy as it seems. I suck at it personally.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, because I think low key, like I'm anxious about things I'm getting close to getting, but I'm so grateful. I'm not being grateful for the moment. And that's just that's the energy that I'm feeling, that pull. But as just talking to y'all, like when you asked that question earlier about, wanting to ask how to checking in with everybody, I just thought it was cool because last 2 days I've been in between that funk, and literally I was just have a self-talk, and G was kind of catching wind of it, and she's trying to like come with solutions. I'm like, you really can't solve this problem right this time. So I don't even know what the problem really is, So, but what I ultimately come to terms with is I'm just grateful. I'm happy to be here, happy to be alive, happy to be able to be amongst y'all. Seems like y'all are doing great stuff, and I know what's coming up with the world, but I also feel like just to be here with y'all is cool, and the moment is cool, and today's cool. But the week, productive. Yeah, productive week.
I think that's a good call out, Kev, because if I know that I suck at being present, you just said that that's something that you struggle with. We need to be excited that we all get a chance to do this every week, and not take this shit for granted. Not take this shit for granted, because this shit is a blessing for real. Can I say blessing and shit in the same sentence, or?
It sounds a little crazy, but it's true. What you said was truthful.
Listen, I heard Cleveland talk about a gospel song, say this is my shit. So,
oh man, when did I say that? I don't know.
One of them Tide Trippin' songs.
Well, I need a fact check.
That Tide Trippin' shit do be slapping though.
That shit be slapping.
Work it out. Listen to Work It Out. That joke go hard.
Well, in that case, let's pass it over to the Prince of Praise himself, Cleveland.
The Prince of Praise.
How was your week?
Man, my week's been good. Man. I definitely turned the corner in terms of productivity and focus. I was really struggling with focus, like for the past few weeks. Like it's been in my prayers. Like, man, God, like I need help focusing. Like I just felt like I had so much going on that I couldn't like hone in on anything. And one of the things that like I received just like in that time of prayer is like, yo, you got to stop doing stuff. Like there's certain things you got to stop. Just stop. Just don't do it. So like I've been getting better at picking things that I just won't do anymore. And like it's just been helping me be more productive with the other things that I do. So yeah, man, like it's been a good week. It's been productive. Happy to be here with y'all. Happy to be talking to y'all. Good to see everybody in good spirits. Glad I didn't have to bail Zoe out of jail for snapping
for Karen. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? You said that. I said that to Chris too. I was like, "Yo, I'm going to jail today."
Oh yeah, Chris. Hold on. Let's back up. Chris was there. How did Chris respond to her saying that she gonna call the cops?
He kind of Chris didn't really respond to after that, but because he's like, who cares? I am one. Like, what are you gonna do?
I am the one.
No, that really was his response. Like, okay, if they come, like, I'm a cop. Cool.
Yeah. Because he would de-escalate it because he's a cop. So
yeah.
Right.
Damn, Zoe. So you got red for no reason.
I mean,
it's the principle, man. It's the principle.
Yeah. Principle.
You know what it was? I was ahead of the curve. Like I heard it. My reaction time was a lot faster. Like James said, most people just wanted to roll off because they didn't want to ruin it, but I couldn't let it go.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Oh, so you do admit that you were people.
Zoe definitely saw teaching moment. Zoe saw teaching moment.
Know yourself.
Right. Yeah, I feel that though.
Yeah, transitioning and wrapping this part up. My week was interesting. So y'all know, because I shared it with y'all in our little group chat, but yesterday my company had a major layoff situation. About 1,000 people got laid off, and talk about being present. And I use this, why am I stuttering? I use this saying that it felt like we were being shot at, but like I got grazed by the bullet, but I don't know who got hit. And I feel like, cause I felt the wind of the fucking layoff, cause it impacted a couple of people on my direct team that I work with every single day. And then you start having to look like I know my value, you know what I mean? But then you start having a little bit of like survivor's guilt, like, damn, like what was it about me that they kept me? Like, why, what is it? And then you have to tap into that gratitude, like, well, fuck it, I'm here, let me make the best of it. Right. And on the other side, how can I help my teammates that are impacted by using my network? You know what I mean? So I'm always thinking as far as a service-oriented manner, like how can I help them? But if I was to sit here and say yesterday I was like relieved, but like, okay, I'll be lying. That shit was like, what the fuck, bro? Yeah. Like they came down with 1,000 layoffs. Let me describe the situation to y'all, right? So every single morning, no matter Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, I wake up, I make green tea, I make my smoothie, I get to work. If it's a Saturday and Sunday, I work on my creative projects or whatever. But every day I get my green tea, get my smoothie, get to work. So yesterday I was feeling all right. I'm like, I don't have a lot to do today, so let me just hop on at 10 a.m. Like, that's late for me. So I hopped on at 10 a.m. and I was like, you know what I mean? Just cruising in. Me and Tiff had a bomb conversation before we eating our breakfast. I see a long email about like layoffs. Nigga, I am stuck. Like, I am stuck. Not only am I stuck, but I don't see no pings from my team. I'm thinking like, is it me? Like, what the fuck? Like, so it's this long email, and I read it, I'm looking, and basically what I landed on is like, you will see a meeting invite if you are impacted. I'll go right to my calendar. I don't see a meeting invite. So now I don't know who to talk to because I don't know who's impacted. So I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? So I hit my teammates, with my manager, and and also you guys did that thing like, did they not send it to me? Did they forget my name? Because don't fuck with my emotions. Because nah, but ultimately, you know, I do still have a job, and they don't plan on making any more cuts for the rest of this fiscal year, so I'm good. But it was a wake up call. It was a fucking scare. Like, oh shit! Like 1,000 jobs going like that. People who've been here for years. Finito. So
it was like that I'm late text that you used to get, right?
I know that I used to get. I've never gotten that, sir. Mind your business. I've never gotten that.
Then mind your business, though. Don't bring that up.
Right.
Y'all had your opportunity around Father's Day to make your jokes, and you missed the opportunity. It's over now. It's fucking over now. But other than that, like y'all said, I'm happy to be here, present, healthy, and just ready to rock out.
For sure.
With that, I'm going to give it to Alonzo to go over our Zonos topics, our current events. Passing the ball to you, Zo. Take it over.
Go. I'm very happy to be here. So, first and foremost, I'm going to start off with tonight's event that's actually probably happening right now.
Right.
I want to give everyone 3 seconds predictions. You can do numbers. You can do winner, take all. Snoop, DMX.
I'll go first.
Oh, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got Snoop 12-8.
12-8. I got Snoop, but I don't have it. I got it like 10-9, like one of those.
Okay.
11-9.
Well, yeah, I got that 11-9. I got Snoop 11-9.
Yeah.
I would. I'm gonna rock with Snoop 11-9 because it's only 20 songs, and that's why DMX is going to be close because it's only 20. Snoop's catalog is definitely
they could screw up.
But
it's tough
for 11-9 Snoop. I'm thinking.
Man, I'm gonna have to like go against everybody just because like 12-8.
Because that's
12-8. No, not even that, but X. I think given that it's only 12, like. He may have a run for his money, and I'm not saying like Snoop is a legend within itself, but he has like too many options. Well, he may run into a situation where he may not be able to deliver.
Yeah. It's like James in college, like way too many options. He just didn't know which one.
I mean, to this one.
He only went past two.
No, I did not have way too many options.
Zo threw it to me
on record, James. That's right. I did not have too many options.
The thing is,
only just enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 12-8X. I think it's gonna be an interesting battle, though.
I mean, it is. Shout out to Kwan. He was talking to us on Instagram, and he was really he put every song possible that X could see.
Yo,
he was Snoop out of here.
Yo, Kwan was in the CD folder joint. The little joint for the car.
He was looking back at his mixtapes.
I'm like, damn, how he just rattled them off like that?
Nah, he did. Matter of fact, let me find
good points though. Yo, one of the strongest points Kwan made was that like, yo, hood anthems in the versus format just go crazy. So like, kind of like something we mentioned last week, like where Timberland versus Swiss, Timberland played like mad Justin Timberlake stuff. Swiss was playing the Locks and Rough Riders. Like,
and that wins.
In that format, it's kind of like hard to compare the two, you know?
Even with Little John and T-Pain, when Little John was hitting them East Side Boy bangers.
That's true. So a few DMX joints that would not ring off that didn't ring off on Billboard, but is important to like Stop Being Greedy, How's It Going Down, Ride or Die, Money Cash Hoes. That was major.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that Back in One Piece with Aaliyah was hard.
Yo,
from Romeo Must Die.
Organ, got that organ in there.
Back in One Piece. That's my drink. Yeah, I'm about to go listen to that now.
Yeah, but all right. So go back to you, Zo. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So that's all right. So we got 4-1. Snoop in favor. Kev going X, which I understand though, because Snoop got so much catalog that he could screw it up, and that's really what it is. He'd have to blow his chances.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have your man Agent Orange, right? And this, I seen the little interview he had with Chris Wallace. I don't know if y'all saw it or heard about it, but that interview was crazy. Like he was literally
hold on, Chris, ain't that Biggie's name? Chris Wallace?
Not Christopher Wallace.
Oh, just Chris.
It's just Chris. And he literally was going at Trump, just battling him with everything he said. He had a right hand coming full steam ahead to combat exactly what he was saying, because he knew Trump's style is everything is always, it's the best, it's the greatest, it's the worst, it's the, like, everything he always on, like, it's so extreme. He never gives numbers, to the point where he started jamming him up, and he had to say, like, Trump stopped and talked to whoever was outside the camera view, like, yo, go get me those numbers, go get me such and such numbers, so I could
bulbs rattled.
Yeah. So now the killer for me, when I almost fell out my chair, was when he Chris Wallace asked him about changing the name for a lot of those Army and Navy, like the military bases that are named under Confederate soldiers' names, right? Which is crazy because we're the only ones that name school streets and a whole bunch of other things about people who lost. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But and that didn't really uphold the Constitution verbatim on paper. Right.
Yeah. Fuck them niggas for the record, just in case.
Yeah.
Right.
So listen, you got to hear the clip and what he says. I'm not even gonna tell y'all, but y'all, I want y'all to hear it because it made me laugh and fall. I'm like, oh nah, he didn't. Hold on.
This is what he said. The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, you have threatened to veto it because in the bill, and this is supported by Republicans as well as Democrats, it would rename Army bases named for Confederate generals. We won 2 world wars, beautiful world wars that were vicious and horrible, and we won them out of Fort Bragg. We won out of all of these forts, and now they want to throw those names away. Go to that community where Fort Bragg is in a great state. I love that state. Go to the community. Say, how do you like the idea of renaming Fort Bragg? And then what are we going to name it? You going to name it after the Reverend Al Sharpton? Okay, I'm sorry.
What?
That was random, yo.
What?
Yo, I was like, huh? First of all, Al Sharpton is not anything in the military. He's not a military person. You should have heard better off saying like Colin Powell or somebody who's like a general. Like this nigga. He said a beautiful war, a vicious war. Like,
yo.
This is a war beautiful, you fool. And
beautiful states. And I love those states.
Yeah, he never knows.
I love those. Like, he just throw it in like, by the way, I love those states.
And he said, all those forts.
Has nothing
all
to do
the
with
forts.
Hold on, fuck all the forts. All the forts.
Yeah, he is definitely incompetent.
Yeah, so I just thought that was like, it was crazy, bro. And it doesn't surprise me, but it surprises me. Because it's like he literally word vomits all the time, yo.
Yo, it's like, why Al Sharpton catch a stray?
Yeah, but what he do? Like, they wasn't talking about no anything that Al Sharpton is related, like not civil rights, none of that.
Wasn't no Rainbow Coalition.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Military base. We gonna name after Al Sharpton? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like he wanted to say the N-word, but Al Sharpton replaced it. What nigga you want to name after?
He speaks his heart. That's the thing about 45. Like, he literally speaks his heart. Like, whatever is
Cleveland,
fine, come straight out.
Cleveland, you canceled. Continue.
You cancel me. Don't cancel me, though.
Bro, I can't.
No, that's the thing, though. Like, I feel like he says what's in his heart, and because I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just saying it's really how he feels. Like, and like that's what it's crazy, man. And that's why
part of his base. His base likes him because he speaks his mind and he's not held to political pressure, and he say what he's wanting. That's how his base kind of galvanized together, and now they show their racism because they speak their mind. They speak from the heart what they really feel. Because he does it, so they think it's okay, and that's why we see the culture that we're in now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like all that shit makes me think of like, when Obama was in office, it's like, we're gonna be patient, we're gonna let him do his work. We should have been out here fucking shit up. Like, we should have been out here being like, I mean, Trump's people. I don't even want to get into this. I'm just gonna say this. They have this blind loyalty to him. No matter what he does, no matter what he says, they'll justify it. If he says Obamacare is bad, they'll say Obamacare is bad, even though they are getting Obamacare.
Benefiting.
During his campaign, he said, "I can shoot." He literally said, "I can shoot someone in the middle of the street in Times Square in broad daylight, and he can still be president." He literally said that.
Which is facts. But
He
anyway,
became president.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, and then lastly on the news, which is a huge topic, obviously, for our culture. Yeah, brother, Kanye West come to the front of the congregation.
Yeah.
Like he literally, his outburst, right? And it's funny, but it's not, and it's deep, and it's so convoluted with so many different things that it's like crazy is, I guess, an understatement, but we don't want to do crazy in a bad way because I'm in some type of pain. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, the funniest part was when he said the thing about Harriet Tubman.
Bro.
She just moved the slaves to go work for other white people. And whoever that girl was recording, she's like, come on, girl, we out.
It's time to go.
That was enough. That was enough.
Enough was enough.
I kept replaying that. It was so perfect. It was hilarious. And I know it was like her emotion came to the front. Like, oh, nah.
I want to hear from her friend. Just like, I want to know how she felt when she was like, "Oh, we leaving?" Like, "Oh, this is it. That's all."
I think it was like because it was just a clip. So I think there was like so many things that was leading up to that, and then he said the thing about Harriet Tubman. She's like, "Oh, now we out of here.
Yeah, we gotta go."
That's like the icing on the cake.
But nah, the scene of him with the bulletproof vest on, with like it looked like a rollout, like an album rollout, which I think it kind of is. But like it looked like good music put it together.
Yeah.
It definitely was some like Source Awards / BT Awards / whatever video music box, you know what I mean, kind of setup. I'm just like,
send that box away.
Yeah, he's wild. So I mean, that was crazy to me when he said that. I was no good, but that's it. But that also I really want to get deeper into the Kanye thing because it didn't sit well with me. So I mean,
well, that's good because our first topic is, so it's in relation to Kanye West. We're going to use Kanye as a shell. We're going to speak not to him and his particular situation, but we're going to speak about folks who are in his situation. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, I'm sure you already do, Kanye West is running for president. Kanye West is also has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And when you are diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it's a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that include emotional highs and lows. The lows can result in depression, and the highs can result in mania. When you're depressed, you feel sad or hopeless, and you lose interest in most pleasurable activities, and you kind of tend to be hot today, cold tomorrow. That's the clinical, clinical and layman's terms of what bipolar disorder is. So if you look at his activities or his antics over the last few years, it always coincides with something that he wants to sell us, to promote us, right? Mm. I'll pause on that for a second, but let's just take it at face value that Kanye is depressed, he is manic, he is exhibiting bipolar disorder. The question I have for y'all is, like, how do we feel watching this all unfold in front of our eyes, especially the way that we felt about Kanye previously?
So, I mean, I think everyone is or should be entitled to, privacy, right? Regardless of your status, social status, income status, well, whatever the case is, I think you should be entitled to your privacy. The issue, however, is that Kanye, with his bipolar disorder, or anyone who makes things known to the public, when you have these outbursts and it is to the public and you quote unquote running for president, if you tell yourself or tell the public I am running for president, that is a huge thing. It's going to be news everywhere. And then you open yourself up for that exposure to be scrutinized what you're doing, right? Mm. And we kind of have to, as a public, try to, I guess, decipher between what's normal, if you will, and then what's not considered normal for what his day-to-day life is. But we don't really have that privilege, so we have to go by what we just think it is. And then a lot of people, that's where a lot of judgment come from what he's doing, and people trying to figure out, okay, where is the line between, him being a genius and then him being bipolar, and how do we justify his bipolarness because of his huge creativity that he has, but people think that he's a genius.
And that's That's what I see now. Like I see a lot of justification for the actions, and like I told y'all, I see a lot of blind loyalty. And it's like, if we think about the fan base that Donald Trump occupies to this day, these folks don't want the truth. They don't care about the truth. They care about the person that's giving it. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel like, okay, I'm in alignment with somebody. But when Kanye West is clearly he's not well is the best way to put it. Why do you think people continue to follow this shit? Why do people continue to put their faith in a situation or a person who is clearly broken?
Man, that's tough. I think a lot of people, because of his gifting, he has a very strong gifting musically. He has an amazing musical gift. And like, because of that, they ignore the flaws in his character. Like they don't separate the two. And I think that's really kind of culturally what we tend to do. If somebody has an amazing gift, no matter what they do wrong, we ride for them. In Kanye's case, I think it's interesting because like I appreciate the fact that we recognize it for what it is. Like we recognize that mental health plays a part in it. Like, which in the past, like, like, especially in the Black community, we write people off as just crazy. Oh, Kanye just crazy. Like, and we just leave it there. So I like the fact that we recognize it for what it is. But at the same time, I think we need to be cognizant of the fact and not chalk everything up to mental health. Right. Like, and then, put everything in this mental health bucket when it comes to him doing something crazy. Some of this can be a part of his character. I'm not saying all of it. Clearly there's something wrong. Right. But some of this, like, we may not maybe his views have really changed and we can't really rock with him the same way in terms of like being for the people or for the cause.
Is there a bit of accountability that we can hold him to when he says that he has a mental illness?
The thing is how, though, right? How do we decipher that? How do we decipher from outside looking in what's, part of his mental illness and what's part of him just being crazy, not his mental illness?
Yeah, right. Like himself, right?
Just basically saying things to say it because he's going to get some type of reaction or get some type of publicity that's going to help sell whatever it is that he's trying to sell, right? How do we really decipher that? We don't know. And that's the thing where the judgment comes into place. And that's why I said that people should be entitled to their privacy. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that ability because we don't know. Like, the public don't know. If you don't know, you're going to use your own judgment. And then a lot of people like to take things for jokes and games, and memes start going viral. And then, people have the blind faith of just following other people. So then they start believing what other people are saying, and it just goes down a rabbit hole at that point in time. You just don't know.
You know what? This shit alarms me. This shit alarms me on a financial level. Kanye West is a billionaire, right? And he just got knighted to be a billionaire maybe like 2 months ago with this whole Gap deal. The part that's alarming to me is Kanye West is an icon to these white streetwear loving kids who are in the suburbs who don't give a fuck about his stance about Black people, who also gives them license not to care about the stance of Black people because Kanye is Black. And if he don't care, then who are we to care? And they stand in line for his sneakers not in line at this point. His sneakers continue to sell and resell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars while he's literally breaking down in front of us. This is the equivalent of Michael Jackson producing this amazing music, but he still has these accusations of doing what he did to kids, which we won't gotta get into that, but like, it's this duality of like, Kanye continues to do dumb shit to disgrace himself, Black people, while also selling himself to white people. And it's like, what are we supposed to believe? You get what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel you.
He also sells himself to Black people too. I mean, Black people do the same thing. Wow, and he can say a lot of things about Black people, yet they still want those Yeezys, right?
But I think we care though. Like, at least not all of us.
What does they do?
Not all of us. We have a specific attachment. Now, when I say we, let me be very clear. I don't give a fuck about Kanye West. Let that record state right now. But Black folks have an attachment to Kanye based on what he used to be. Right.
We won't let it go. We still holding him to that.
Right.
Snap out of it kind of deal. We'll snap out of it. Like,
right.
My analogy is kind of like Mike Tyson. So like when Mike Tyson lost Cus D'Amato, like that's when Don King and all these other forces came into his life, and he just went off the track. Like people started digging his pockets. He was the baddest man on the planet.
He was unprotected. Yeah,
he just was a loose cannon, and every incident that he experienced, you saw headline news, was a prime example of that. And these outbursts that Mike Tyson had, talk about you eat somebody's kids, all type of stuff. Like it's similar outbursts that Kanye is having. You know what I'm saying? So I think I wanted to reach like another aspect of it, but I want Kev, I don't know if you have an opinion on it before I open up this other avenue.
Oh, I would keep it short. I mean, I think Kanye is somewhat of a genius, you know, and I think when you're to a degree different from the majority, you're gonna take a lot of shots until the wave can get caught up. Basically, like I don't think he's right for his antics. You know, talking about being on stage, calling people out, like those antics are just like some of the things that I think is beyond his control. I think those are just the the semantics of who he is, essentially. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but in real time, I think he is far ahead than a lot of us in just the way he processes things and see things, and I think deep down, he doesn't feel he gets the credit that he deserves. And weirdly, he's one of those people that will try to reject fame, but then glorify over it at the same time. So it's just, so it's like,
because if you remember back in the day, he was talking about how he don't need before Yeezy, the clothing line was popping. He was saying we don't need big corporations, but look what he's doing. Right. Like, he's a like it pisses me off the amount of care that people have for him, and he keeps letting people down. Before we pass it back to Zol, you had to say this one thing. Talking about accountability, if you really look at the trends, every time he has a manic episode, he sells us something in the next couple of weeks. Every fucking time. Just had to look at the Gap deal. You know what I mean? Like it seems like a rollout. It don't even seem like it seems like he's doing this to get attention to then sell us something else.
I just want to know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it.
He has a team around him too, right? Like I think his team, like they understand that his antics are his antics in terms of maybe his bipolar, and he just went through some stuff. And his team might be like, "Listen, we're going to use this to push other things." Right. Because I mean, listen, all like they said, any bad publicity or any publicity is good publicity, right? So whatever he's doing, his team might then roll out some type of strategic initiative or strategic move that's going to be able to push whatever it is that he is selling to get it out to the masses.
And that's because he knows, like Var said before, he has those loyalists. It's really for them and like that. I just want to know what happened to the George Bush hate black people George Bush hate black people to the Trump kind. Like how could you're the same person, right? I mean, I know we evolve and stuff, but like what the hell? Like if anything, this dude we all know is worse than George Bush was. And
you know what? But whether what Kanye is doing is by design or if he genuinely is tripping like this, either way is still a mental health issue, right? Because if you go this far by design to sell something, there's something not right mentally if you're going that far to do it. Or if it's genuine, it's still mental health. So there's definitely a conflict in there, man. He don't seem to be at peace at all. And people were saying when he made the gospel album, they're like, oh yeah, Yeezy seemed like he had peace. And I was like, I never really bought into it because like, it was
you're the Prince of Praise. Because you're the Prince of Praise. So you know
I'm the Prince of Praise. But you know, it was like he had another outlet to use his gift, right? Like, so to me, it was like, I'm Kanye outside the church. I'm Kanye in the church. And then the church, the black church specifically, couldn't really reject him because he put them on the spot. Like in the album, he even said, oh, what you think? What you think I hear from the Christians? Something like that. So he kind of put them on the spot. Like, all right, I'm a gospel artist now, so if you don't let me sing at your church, you're basically condemning me, saying like my music can't be played and I'm not real gospel music. But at the same time, he needed to be led. And I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say that. He was like, listen, like, Kanye can come to my church anytime, but I don't want him just to come so I can use his gift. Like, I feel like he needs to be, like, pastor, like, led. So he can come anytime, but I can't say I'm going to give him my stage. Like, I'm paraphrasing. He might not have said that exactly. Right. So, like, I think he really needs help. Either way it goes, intentional or, you know, if it's really just the bipolar thing is just really eating him up. You need some help.
Well, there's one thing that you said, Cleveland, that brings me to my next kind of point about Kanye. You said he's not at peace. It doesn't seem like he's at peace. Obviously, he was crying on stage, right? So
with the bulletproof vest on. I don't know if you can cry with a bulletproof vest on.
Yeah. But one of the things that in Black world we say, Kanye's never, like how, almost like how I said with Mike Tyson, never was the same when Cuz D'Amato died. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Kanye was never the same, we always say, after his mom passed, right?
Right.
And to me, that made, as you saw him crying about it again, he's still not at peace with that. Right. And it's very strange. And what's weird is when he was doing that rant and screaming and crying about it, and I'm like, yo, he's really showing exactly my theory of he's not the same when his mom died. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, I can't judge it because I don't have that experience. You know what I mean? My mom is still alive. And I know if you didn't have a father and your mom was all you had, is like, even it's double versus, you know what I mean? So I thought it was really, really crazy. And then that led me to think about us as a group. Like, we come from 2-parent homes. We all college educated, but then we also literally juxtaposition, like diverse, to where we have two of y'all who have lost their mom. And I thought about you guys. I'm like, I wonder how they would feel about that. Is that a thing where, like, you're not the same after you lose your mom, or it'll drive you crazy, or, like, what didn't make you go crazy, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had so many thoughts. So it's like, man, I want to open the floor to, those who did. You could, if you want to just speak briefly, or, up to you guys, but just from that aspect, because as boys, mama's boy, like, right, that's the thing. So if you was mama's boy with no dad, it's probably like crushed twice as hard.
Right. Go ahead, James. You can go first.
So yeah, I guess since Var put me out there, I'm one of the people who unfortunately lost their mom. So for me, I lost my mom. I had just turned 21, 2 months prior. When my mom had passed away. I was, a senior in college at that point in time, or kind of like a senior, if you will, at that point in time. Kind of like a senior. And it was especially hard for me because prior to that, I didn't really see my mom too often, only because I was about a little over an hour away at school. I was in school full time. I was also working full time. So on the weekends when I wasn't in class, I was working basically all day. So I never really got a chance to go home, because then after all of that, I wanted to still have like a young adult life, still wanted to go on party, be with my fraternity brothers, do all of these different things. And I guess I didn't prioritize it too much, which is unfortunate. And that's on me. So it happened suddenly when my mom passed. It wasn't like she was sick or anything like that. It just happened, unfortunately. So it was hard, right? And I think you lose anyone close to you, it's hard, period. But when you lose a parent, it's especially hard. And for me, it took a while for me to, if you will, get over it. And I'm never really over it. I still have times where I think about, for both my parents passed away at this point in time now, which is unfortunate. But so I have times where I think about both of my parents. But at the time, what helped me get over it, if you will, or get me through it, were my fraternity brothers. Right. It was my escape was literally I was able to leave from where I grew up, Passaic, with my family there, grieving and stuff like that. And I was able to, if you will, run back to school and back to my fraternity brothers and back to that life that kind of helped me move forward. Right. No one showed sympathy, if you will, because that's not what I was looking for, or empathy or whatever. I just wanted to kind of live my normal life. And like all my fraternity brothers kind of understood that, and we just kind of went about it. And if I ever needed to talk to anyone about anything, that I was able to do that, and I wasn't afraid to do that. But for me, I always knew, okay, well, this is what she would have wanted, right? She's going to want me to continue to move forward in life. She's not going to want me to sit here and sober and lose my life simply because that happened, right? That's not what she worked so hard to get me in a position to be successful.
Right.
So that's kind of what helped drive me. Now, it does take a lot mentally to be able to do that. And I think that I'm mentally strong enough to understand that. And I've been through different adversities growing up in life that I can't say prepares you, but at least it gives you a baseline as to how to deal with certain things. And then you kind of use that and you just grow. And every day you work at it and, you know, eventually it becomes easier. But I agree that you never get over it, though.
Yeah, similar situation for me. Also, James, like when my passed in 2016, I was living in California already. It was very sudden. And the thing that kind of helped me to get through, and I think I link this to Kanye, is I didn't have any regrets, so to speak, when my mom passed. Because we have this little thing where I say, even to, you know, my sister, my dad, I love you, see ya, right? Every time. So the last time I saw her was a month before she passed. And it was especially tough because I wasn't even in the state when it happened, but I didn't feel like I missed anything. So I didn't have any regrets. But also something that I noticed that I do very well is I compartmentalize everything. So for those who don't know what that means is everything in my brain, it has a place. I don't mix the things that go together. Like, you know, I can live with the fact that I'm living for my mom and her journey. I mean, and the thing that she had, I guess, teed up for me, but that doesn't mix with the fact that she's not here anymore. Like those two things aren't conflated. So that kind of helps me to be sane, honestly. And, but to James's point, it never gets easier, and you understand that you only get one of these, you know, and that's if he was lucky enough to grow up with one altogether. But relating this to Kanye, I know that a lot of people say that what you deal with in your adult life consistently, whether you have mental health issues or challenges or not, is you always are trying to solve your childhood trauma, right? So when I see Kanye, I see regrets from maybe some unresolved things between him and his mom, because it's like he's yearning for her. And I don't have that experience because me and my mom was tight. Like, you know, like we talked about a lot of things, and I know that I'm continuing to live out the purpose and try to go above and beyond that. That don't mean it don't hurt. You are never the same person. That's a fact. Like, you're never the same. I feel like I find myself talking to myself all the time, but it's like I'm talking to her, you know, so you kind of find ways kind of like exist. But I definitely think that just looking at Kanye and saying, okay, he hasn't been the same since his mom passed. I think he's chasing something that he hasn't resolved, and it continues to manifest in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. So, and just as a sidebar, my wife says that I'm a low-key serial killer because of the way I deal with my emotions.
Yeah.
Simpson.
So she's like, it's like things doesn't seem to bother me.
Same. Yep.
That's not the case. It's like obviously things bother me, but I just don't allow it to control me.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's something that I don't know if it's a talent or because some people get angry quick about things.
Damn, I'm talking about Zoe. He's right here. He's right here.
I just purposely didn't make eye contact. I didn't make eye contact. Nah, it's not. I'm not
James,
talking about stuff.
I think it's conditioning. I think what you like is you're conditioned to just be better at adversity.
Yo, talk about.
I don't know if that's good or not, though.
Yo, talk about if the shoe fits, wear it. James over here throwing the whole Foot Locker at me. Like, God, right.
But I don't know if it's a good thing. Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, wow, have I been through that much trauma in my life that I'm conditioned just to be able to compartmentalize it?
Yep.
Can you tell a story, James?
No, we're gonna leave that story alone. But I don't know if it's a good thing, man. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, is it good that I'm able to deal with it that way? am I gonna have a breakdown one day? Just everything's just gonna come out of nowhere and just attack me. You know what I mean? I don't think I am, because I feel like something would have happened, or I'd have had some type of emotion where I was like, well, maybe I need to deal with this. But it's not. I feel like I'm pretty rational with my decision making, even under pressure or in weird situations. I think all of that helped me to get to this point.
I agree. I think like my dad is like that. But I will say this with James, Joe, like even to the point where one day when he was working at the branch and this lady was wilding out, like going off, like just so disrespectful. She just was being ridiculous, kind of on Karen. And like, this is ridiculous. This line is so long. And then James like, well, if you need to make a deposit, you can go to the ATM. I can show you.
I said it in a much more polite way than that, though.
Yeah, he was I was just laying into it, but he was, he used the coded James
professional language.
Yeah, where he could reach her, and she just was not having it. She just kept going at him. He's like, well, ma'am, listen, I'm sorry, but these are non-customers, so the line is really all customers. Like the non-customers have a different line, and there's not many non-customers, so they're coming and going. I don't care. What does it tell her? I say, yo, so I'm in line. I'm behind her like 2-3 spaces. And I was like, yo, you ever work at a bank before? Like, I just, I'm like,
when Zoe stepped in, I was like, oh shit, no, I'm like,
I'm like, but James, you're nervous. I'm like, don't act like you don't know me.
Yeah, basically.
I'm just a random patron. So I went off on that lady. I'm like, yo, you can pick one. You can either get out of line, go on about your day, or shut up and be patient, lady. Like, and James looked like, I said, yo,
but I appreciated that, though.
Yeah, I couldn't take it no more, bro, because she was being so obnoxious. Like, now you aggravating the rest of everybody else in line.
I feel like we all got a story where Zoe stepped in. It was like our anger person, because it's like, I'm trying to keep it together and shit. And Zoe, fuck that.
Yeah.
Zoe slammed one of our frat brothers from me in front of my face, right on his head. Boom. My bad, bro. I mean,
no, it's cool. Zoe's been there for like one of my moments, man, where like I couldn't really react the way I wanted to because my daughter was there. And so Zoe had to be my anger translator, basically. But yo, I wanted to say this, man. Like with James and Var both, like I was around when y'all went through what y'all went through, and thank you for sharing that on this platform, because that's not something easy to let people into. But B, y'all have, like, I've always admired, like, both of y'all have this way of just like continuing to go, like, you know what I'm saying, like. I'm not going to use it as a crutch per se. I'm just going to continue to work through it and do what I have to do to be successful. And I admire that about both of y'all.
Appreciate
One
that.
thing I definitely want to encourage is when you experience something traumatic, I think everybody really on this call has this like innate ability to be resilient and to thrive, even though you've gone through that. I still highly encourage counseling, man, because I'll tell you this, man, when it comes to changes in your life, like sudden changes in your life are what tend to spark that thing that you've been suppressing for a long period of time, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a big move. Like sometimes when you have that big impactful change in your life, it's like something hits and it's like, dang, yo, I thought I was good with this, but I got to deal with it. Like, so in terms of like having bouts with mental health, like personally, I struggle with anxiety, right? Something I didn't even know I had until I moved. I moved when I was in Jersey. I was like always on the go, work. I moved here. I just had to sit down. I couldn't be like, yo, who's watching the game? So like, that's when it was like triggered. Like I had just a sudden change in my life. So I'm just saying that to encourage, like, seek counseling, man, for traumatic events, man. You never know what's tucked inside that you've just been like compensating for in your own way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that, man, because I was really alongside of the mental health aspect of just where we are. And I just, as you already kind of mentioned in reference, I really highly recommend, if you ever have, there's somebody you trust, you want to talk about something, express it, like get it out, right? Try not to compress too much. Don't feel like you always have to do it by yourself, and I don't want any of y'all to feel like you have to do anything by yourselves. It's something that you guys think about me in a way that I can support, then I would hope that you guys reach out. I think one of the things that, we all feel like we're overwhelmed with our own personal lives and people are all busy, but I wouldn't be a friend if I wouldn't be able to leverage my space for you guys to operate in. You know what I mean? So like, and I just would hope everybody could feel the same way about the people that they trust and love too, because life is challenging within itself, man.
Yes,
and as complex as it is, you know, people are put in your life for a reason. And I believe that. I believe people are strategically placed by higher spirit to be in your life to support you, right? So I just say that to say with this mental health movement, you guys are strong. I've witnessed both you guys go through your transitions, and you know, I'm someone who kind of like go with the flow in terms of the energy that my friends lose or whatever. You know, you know how I move with that. So I never felt like you guys wasn't doing what y'all was supposed to do. I felt like you guys always kind of like held it down how y'all was supposed to. But though just because I never brought it up doesn't necessarily mean I never thought about it. I just, you know, it was just something that I knew that, you know, you're going to keep it to when y'all ready type. So just with this concept, I just say my only takeaway for that is reach out, man, talk to people, express yourself, like, release that energy, try not to condense within yourself if there's ever anything.
I think that goes to, go ahead, Zoe.
I was just saying, y'all know, like, I agree with you guys because y'all like and that's the reason why I call actually all y'all here, because I'm Cleveland suffers from anxiety. I suffer from anger anxiety. So whatever you want to call it, or I like the way he put it. I'm gonna start saying that I'm your anger translator. Like,
yes, you are.
Yeah, I mean, just bounce the energy to me. I got you. I will take it.
That's your exercise. You enjoy. You like, I get to be mad today. Yes.
You know, you put it with the arm like back up. Yeah, I got this. Like when I am conscious where I'm trying not to do it, and that's why the serenity prayer is so important to me, because that's me. Like, I'm always trying to control something I can't, or I get mad about something that was beyond my control, and that's like my own personal issue. And all y'all have known at some point in time, whether it's me and Kevin, we link up, we chop it up, we talk about stuff, and I gotta hear Kev's perspective because he always got a different twist. I'm like, damn. Like, one thing that Kev said last week that to this day I thought about it, and now I'm gonna start applying it.
He said to this day like it was last year. Last week.
To the days, but he said, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm like, yo, for me, that's like, I mean, even being a Libra, like, being uncomfortable is not, stuff got to be the same, but that's not realistic. So I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in certain things. And then you guys know that I will call each 1, 2, 3, or 4, like, yo, am I tripping or am I doing too much or whatever?
Yo, I really enjoy the am I tripping calls, because it's like,
because it's always a crazy story.
It's accountability. Like,
for sure.
So going back to what James was saying, in terms of whenever traumatic events happen, we have each other, right? And literally, y'all have been the solace for troubled waters for many times. And I've been with each of y'all when something traumatic has happened, right? We have never been apart when our most traumatic events happen in our lives. And if we're not there physically, we're going to know within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I think that when Zoe hits us, it's like, am I tripping? Is like, yo, help me to understand what I don't see.
Right.
Illuminate my blind spot for me, because, bro, I don't fucking get it. Like, but you're seeking the knowledge though. And for the record, we're transitioning from the Kanye conversation to more black male mental health. I just want to make sure that we put a button. We're not talking about Kanye. We talk about black male mental health. But like that more that innate like mechanism to be like, yo, let me call my boys. That shit is powerful, bro. That shit should not be understated.
Yeah. It's self-awareness, I think, when you know there's something that's a flaw, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's a gift and a curse. You know what I mean? It has its time and purpose for, you know, everything. But I don't, when you get older, you get too old to be arguing, beefing, yelling, and all that. And then certain situations may call for it, like people need to know. But a lot of times it's internal, like in the house. You don't need to be doing that in the house. Externally, they can catch it. I don't care. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Take it how you get it. Like, I don't care.
Get it like in the bank. Get a bank.
Exactly. So, but internally, like within the household, that's what's more important to me. And that's usually my tripping calls, because I only self-check when it's someone that I care about, because I don't want to lose that person or do something that's screwed up. So I always have to self-evaluate before I jump off the ledge.
And Kev, I know you spoke about mental health specifically. I know that you're a super duper health advocate, but how did you get to the place where you decided that like sometimes you need outside counsel to kind of figure out what's going on inside?
Well, I mean, I tried to be this person of reason to navigate my own problems. I think I got to a point where I made myself believe that everything is always good, to the point where even when I'm dealing with an issue, that I just found myself like concealing that information, thinking about I can figure it out. And then I can't remember one particular moment, but I think it had to have been a moment, but I think more importantly, it was just realizing at a time where, like I needed somebody, I needed somebody to throw this over to. I need somebody who can hear this out. I need somebody who can essentially cry on somebody's shoulders,
Yep.
I mean, and that essentially was, that relief feel was the moment where I realized that it's important to, as call it what you want, as tough, as man, as woman, as strong, independent you want to be, like, issues are issues, and the life is still going to continue to go on without you. So the quicker you can reveal and the quicker you can relieve whatever are bothering you, the quicker you can move on and enjoy the life that's meant for you too. And I kind of had a thought when you guys said something, but I think part of my anxiety is coming from not having my phone low key, because I don't have it. And
right.
Now my day just feels weird. I'm kind of like feeling incomplete. I feel like I'm productive, but I'm incomplete. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? And just thought about that. Like, oh, I don't have my phone. But, I just say that. I just think the biggest part about it is, just reaching out. Someone you really trust and you love and you care about, and they care about you. Talk to them. Talk to people.
And before we wrap up this specific topic, and I'm gonna pass to Cleveland in a minute because he has some resources to share. So I used to work in mental health, right? And you see the stigma of Black folks not subscribing to what it means to get treatment, to do therapy, X, Y, and Z. I have this analogy for people who are on the fence about therapy, right? Each day you go through shit, and you have a bucket, and let's say the bucket is liquid, right? You have this, you just go through a whole lot of shit, and then your bucket continues to get full and full and full and full. And what you do is you go to a spot specifically tailored for you to dump out your bucket. It's like a place for you to just get rid of all the shit that you're dealing with. And for me, on the other hand, I used to work in a mental health facility, and I was a person that everybody dumped their bucket on. So it'd be akin to, I have a paint suit. I come in with a white paint suit every day. I see, 20 students or 20 people. And by the time I leave, I'm drenched with like all types of shit that they've been going through all day. But what I have to do is I have to take off the white paint suit, ball it up, put it in trash, because if I don't, I'll take all their shit with me in my car, in my house. It'll follow me everywhere I go. But that's the same thing is for folks who are dealing with shit. If you don't take it and get it off of you and put it in your bucket, it will follow you. It'll stick to you. It will not leave until you manually take it off, speak to somebody, get it off of you in order to make sure that you can be lighter and feel free. But go ahead, Cleveland.
Absolutely. And everything Bar said is completely true. We definitely encourage counseling, and just some resources for those who are seeking counseling. So if you have the privilege right now of being employed, the first thing is see if your company offers any type of counseling services within the office. A lot of companies will offer sessions with counselors, and the first couple of sessions are completely free, or on the company, I should say. So see if there's any resources available to you there. Second thing, if you have insurance, talk to your insurance providers about counseling services that they provide. I know some insurance providers do the same thing. Your first couple of counseling sessions are free or extremely discounted. The next thing I would do, Psychology Today, Transcript.com. A lot of counselors are registered with them. So you can search for counselors that actually suit you. So if you are a black male and you're seeking a black male counselor, you can find a black male counselor, because it is important to feel comfortable with your counselor. So go that way. If you don't have insurance, I still encourage you to call those resources, because sometimes those counselors will make an exception and charge you a discounted rate, things of that nature, if they're just seeking to help you out and get you into a better space. Last but not least, black male counselors are extremely difficult to track down, extremely difficult to find. We just so happen to know one, and I just want to share his information. He is a certified counselor, licensed counselor, been practicing for 7 years. His name is Gary Nelson. You can contact him at www.nelsoncounseling.org, nelsoncounseling.org, and he has a network of other male counselors that he could attach you to as well. So just wanted to throw that out there and encourage everybody to seek counseling.
Thank you for that. Anybody else have any parting words as we exit this mental health topic?
Yeah, one of the things, especially with the counseling, at least for, like, I'm kind of putting it all together, like how you said you deal with the trauma from when you were younger and you know, some of that pain. So one thing that I had Brother Lee Fuller posted something about forgiveness, and I was like, all right, sorry, I can't.
Does not compute.
You right away.
And so he reached out, he inboxed me, which we're going to have a conversation. Him and I, we're going to talk tomorrow. We were supposed to do today, but I told him I had to record, but I wanted to give him a shout out because he actually reached out and said, he sent me some stuff like, you know, I just don't get the whole, like, if you forgive somebody, it's you're I don't know what the phrase is, but you like,
it's for you, it ain't for them.
Yeah, but I don't see how it's for me yet.
Oh yeah, this is good. This is good, Zoe. So go ahead.
He's reached out like, yo, give me a call, we'll go through it, we'll talk. And that's one of the things, like the network of people and just reaching out. Another brother reached out to me and said, yo, you really feel that way? I'm like, 100%. I was like, I'm not just trolling you on Facebook. Like, I know I joke a lot, but like I'm dead serious too. Like, serious joke, right? So,
right.
And then he's like, yo, hit me, send me his number, everything. So I'm going to reach out, and I'll let you guys know next week how that conversation goes. But I do think that is an aspect of, that maybe for me, I don't know who else could relate, but like, we tend to mask it. Like, I forgive, I don't forget. Like, nah, you ain't forgive, you still like.
Yeah, I think black people, we have a lot of those
defense mechanisms.
Yeah, like sleep when I'm dead. Actually, sir, actually, sleep is quite delightful if you really get into it.
The body needs it.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Speaking of forgiveness or lack thereof, I feel like something that's in our culture right now, and something that I guess Kanye is a bit immune to, is like cancel culture. Are y'all familiar with cancel culture?
Yes.
So before we dig deep into it, like, I guess I should kind of define what cancel culture is for people who may not know. I think the cancel culture is defined as like a misalignment of values and views, and it seems to be a bit of a mob mentality when you are on the other side of what the group thinks, and there is a systematic cancellation of you, your views, your everything that you have to do with, i.e. R. Kelly is a good example of being canceled. You know, that's a more positive, productive, you are destructive to the community, get the fuck out of here, no music, no nothing. But there are also exhibits of cancellation, like J. Cole put a song out that people interpreted a certain way, and all of a sudden, nah, fuck him, we good. Which erases all the things that he had done that was more positive. I want to get y'all thoughts on cancel culture in general, holistically. How do y'all feel about it?
Cancel culture is, I mean, it's for me. I think it plays a part. Part of it is necessary, but I think that's a small part of it. I think overall, you just can't take away someone's life simply because of maybe a mistake. But at the same time, it's, you know, where do we draw the line at when we allow someone to grow and learn from their mistakes?
Right.
And what is it that we just can't say, oh, you can't come back from that. Like whatever you said or whatever you did, there's no coming back from that. You are now officially canceled. I think that's kind of like that line where people should tether, but I think in just general, like if you look on Twitter, cancel culture is like as soon as you say one little mishap, no matter what, it's a wrap.
Alive and well. It's
That's
over.
it. So it's like, you can't really do it to that extent all the time. But I think people get joy out of it. They wait to find something that you did. They'll go back 10 years ago and look
like
at something
Kevin
that
Hart.
you did, like Kevin Hart, and just immediately try to cancel you, which, it's a bit crazy.
It's crazy, man. I think the thing that I don't like about cancel culture is I do think it tends to be a bit hypocritical, because it's like, to James' point, it's like we're looking for someone, usually in the entertainment space, usually is where it happens most frequently. We're looking for someone to do something that we disagree with, to say, okay, we don't rock with them anymore. And it's not enough for you personally not to rock with them anymore. You got to make this cancel statement so that nobody else rocks with them anymore either. And I think that's a bit hypocritical because, like, people have character flaws, and like, who are we, outside of anything outrageous, right? Like, who are we to say, like, oh, he shouldn't have said that, let's cancel him forever? I think that's a little bit, like, it's a bit much, man. Like, I don't really agree with it, man.
It's like sending somebody to an exile, like you're exiling people. And like, just like, okay, I don't know how people are going to feel about this, right? But if you have a person let's say you work with somebody that said nigger, right? And for better or for worse, they said it. I know Alon's about to say, now fuck them. But so would you rather them be quote unquote canceled and sent off to the wild with their dismay and like their anger? Or would you rather have it so that they can understand this is a teachable moment, and if you do this again, I will fuck you up? Like, which one would you rather have? Because I think when you have this cancel culture shit, there's not an opportunity to teach or to like see the other side. Go ahead, Zoe.
All right, so I will say this. It depends. Well, one, they're not saying it to me, right? Like,
no. They're just saying it like colloquially. Like, they're just saying
they grill gonna get canceled. Exactly. I think it depends on situations, and I don't want to say case by case because then you start nitpicking. But I'll give you an example, right? Especially with that N word. So like Riley Cooper, when he said what he said, we heard the malicious intent, and he's a grown man. Granted, we forget that these football players are younger than us. Like, we
they
tend to forget that they're like 24, 23, or whatever the case may be, right? But then Riley Cooper versus like, I don't know if it was Josh Rosen or Josh Allen, one of them quarterbacks that just came out. He quoted him from like when he was like 16, 17 in high school, right? All of which you're old enough to know the difference. However, if you're still 16, 17, you said that, you're still living in your parents' house. You're in your culture. You're in your atmosphere, your arena, your all-white school. You're not even exposed to that much. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where he's from. Versus Riley Cooper, like, you're on a team with all black people, bro. Yeah. Like, you know that like, you see what I'm saying? So I think I look at it like that, or how old the person was when they, like, you know what you're doing versus if I dig. It's different if you said it today versus if I dig up something from when you was like.
See, now that's the shit. Like, you can't use 2020 rules in 1992. I don't like that part where we're going back because shit, we know that Snoop and DMX versus is going on right now. If you even see the Gin and Juice video, you're like, that shit couldn't live in 2020. Like, ain't no way in hell.
DMX just said,
no tip drill.
DMX just said, and where the hood at, like.
It's like, no, that is not a thing.
Yeah, like this. He said that. Like,
but when I think about people who have been canceled, right? To me, in my brain, I put people in timeout. Like, I think that everybody's channel, whether it's celebrity or whatever, is like YouTube. You can either subscribe or unsubscribe. And sometimes I think people get caught up when they make these celebrities their idols, and then they quote unquote cancel them because they're disappointed. And I think that's a root there. Like, we may be expecting way too much from these people to begin with, because like, if you think about that whole, the Me Too movement, a lot of these dudes deserved to lose their jobs. Matt Lauer, fucking, obviously Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby and the people who accused him of his things. But there are some people who caught astray based on cancel culture, like Aziz Ansari. He had a bad date. Mm-hmm. He had a bad date, and they got him all the way the fuck out the paint.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He had a mistimed. He pulled his mans out too early. He thought it was leading to a certain place, and she was on her way home. She didn't like it, so she did what she had to do. But he had a bad date. Versus Matt Lauer had a button under his desk that he pressed a button, and that motherfucking door locked. That's drastically different.
Wow. Yeah. But do you think cancel culture is literally born from the opposite of that, to where people would tolerate things like we heard about, thou who shall not be named marrying a young girl when we was young. Yes. Yeah, everybody still rocked out to his music. Everybody still vibed out to everything.
Seems like you're ready.
Culture is like a result of this culture of we're going to ignore everything about this person because they have a good gift. Now, cancel culture is like hypersensitive to everything that somebody does, and we're going to cancel them before it gets worse almost. So it's like a reaction to something that we tolerated for too long and like historically, you know what I mean? Just a thought.
It's definitely reactive and not proactive, but I mean, I just think that there's always an opportunity, and I might sound like a man, it might be mansplaining here, but I do think that sometimes there's an opportunity to teach people who have done things that we don't agree with, right? Now, on such things like rape or, specific racism, things that like your impulses can prevent you because you've had examples of what happened before. If you do some egregious act like this, then it's like, all right, you bringing the show yourself. But it is not up to us to decide what offends people. Nobody can tell a black person what's offensive or not. They just can't.
Like I think what Bar's getting at is like how it's not as direct, right? So like when that lady said, "Yeah, I'm gonna call the cops," that was offensive. And most people like, all she said was calling the cops, but like
because of history, what that means.
The meaning of it. So I get it. I do think and I heard it was also him talking about like, well, black people the real.
I thought he said white people were like the devil or something like that.
That was racist, but the other.
That's what I thought it was.
Nah, they didn't get him out to paint because they got him out to paint. Right, which is why we are in a state. We are in a state of learning. We are trying to learn. We don't know. We're in a perpetual state of learning. We're trying to figure this shit out. But I say that to say, those people decided that this was offensive enough to a certain community, so they got Nick out of here.
But I think that's the part that shows almost kind of what he's talking about. Like they almost proved his point by doing that.
Yes, because I don't think the people. Now here's the fucking mind fuck. The people who may have been offended aren't the ones that got him out the paint. It's the people who may think he will be. They'll get pressure to get him out the paint. So it's like me having a white boss and another white coworker saying the N-word. If I am close to that person, they'll be like, well, VAR can't hear him say that, so he was going to put pressure on. Let's be proactive and get him out of here before the pressure comes. So I don't necessarily think that the community was like, I think Viacom was like, this
but is the person that owned Viacom, is she Jewish, I believe? I feel like I've heard that. I read that somewhere.
That's what I said.
And she didn't appreciate it, so that's why he had to get up out of there. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah.
All I know is that like this situation shows. I heard Charlamagne say this, and it's so true. It's like I really wish that like black people had kind of that same consideration in this country,
that grace
for certain things, that grace and that recognition of these people have experienced something traumatic in this country. And to Charlamagne's point, like Nick said something that they felt was anti-Semitic. They got him out of there. Yet, like, we're still trying to get people charged for killing black people. Like, it's just such a juxtaposition, if you will. Like, we're fighting to have like that type of strength and power so that we're not oppressed and we don't have to deal with things of that nature, and we can get people out of positions of influence if they say something racist or do something racist, but we still don't really have that pull just yet. And to me, that's what it shows. But in terms of like canceling somebody, like there are moments that need to be teachable more than there needs to be an action taken. I'll give you a specific example. Y'all know I had a situation at work where I was basically, I'm going to call it harassed and kind of mocked for being black, right? Like, oh, you're black, right? So, but it was in a very mocking way, right? So my company handled it appropriately. They were fired. What I do feel and what I wish I had the opportunity to do is one of two things. I wish I had the opportunity to speak to the gentleman to let him know why it was offensive, to let him know why it was unacceptable. And I also, what my company did that I think was powerful is they, after that, released a statement letting people know that this type of behavior is not acceptable. That's the teachable moment to me, because that transitioned us getting rid of a liability, a problem, into us trying to change the culture of the company. You know what I mean? And that's where the teachable moments come in, changing culture rather than just getting rid of a situation.
But one thing I don't like about cancel culture all the time, because of who we cancel people sometimes too quickly. Like James said, we need to have like a teachable moment. Some people's beyond teaching, right? I believe that. Like you like 60, bro, you ain't changing. You are who you done this. You're Jim Crow. Like forget it. But in the younger generation, some people, they only go about based off of what they taught, because all that stuff, if you forget learned behavior, it's not nobody's born like that. So the one thing I hate about cancel culture sometimes is I don't think we use it to teach as much as we can. Even if we cancel you, but I think there should be some teachings, because I feel like if we just canceling people, that's just gonna breed more hate.
Yeah, but see, can we get purgatory? Like that's what I'm saying. When you exile somebody, you send them off with their ideals. Like they don't get a chance to like learn, or you know, because I really think about, I put myself in this position, right? Learning about the LGBTQ thing, right? It's almost like you had to say specifically, I am here to learn, in order to like not get slandered. Or I think more contemporary was like the Me Too movement, right? Where men were like, well, I mean, I've never put a woman in a position where I had to get quote unquote like verbal consent. But what is consent? And they used to shame people for not knowing exactly what consent was. It's like,
because consent is different for every person.
It is, and you're like, but back then you couldn't even say that, because it's like, well, no, if you don't have consent, then it's rape. It's like, whoa, can we have a gray area? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's hard to even get into to that part of it, because like Zoe said, there are different things around consent. Like consent is clear to a point where it's like, yeah, if she's saying no, is no.
No means no.
No means like period, right? But it's like, okay, leading up to that point, if you're, one girl, you can, or guy, however you look at it, you can kiss and you can, with one person, kissing means they want to do more. And then another person, kissing means just kissing. But it's like, how do you know that? Because if you then go from kissing to then, okay, I'm trying to put my hand on a thigh.
Grab your hand and pull it back.
Right? Like,
or you get the little smack. That smack means stay in your lane.
But sometimes it's like, as soon as you put your hand on the thigh, it's like, oh my God, I feel violated. And it's like, whoa, what's going on right now? Because it can get to that point, and then you don't know what you did or didn't do wrong.
Right, because it's not a teachable moment. Like you don't know.
It's like that's it. It's like, wait, what's going on? I thought, because with this individual, I did that and everything was great. But then this individual, I did the same exact thing, and now you saying I violated? Like, what's going on?
Yo, even the nose, like, I don't want to sound too crazy.
Nope, we're not going down. No means no, Alonzo. No means no.
I'll tell you.
No means no, 100%.
I agree with you, but I'm telling you, yo, you've all experienced where someone gets mad if you don't. I'm playing hard to get. Like, I've experienced that personally, where somebody's saying it on, like, trying to just be not difficult, but
let me reframe. I'm gonna reframe it for you. Sometimes there are people who we were with in our previous lives who wanted us to be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So being that I'm a gentleman and I will listen to the no, they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, why'd you stop? Like,
this is a yellow light, not a red light. It's like
arrested out here.
Right.
But I was just weird. But that's my point. It's like it's individual. Like James said, this person might say like, well, I just was, I want to see the man be a man. Like, okay, well,
and that's not the kind of man I am, Miss.
Nah, it gotta always. Is at this point you got to make sure, like, are you okay with this? You have to ask. Always ask people, no matter what. If you kiss someone and you're kissing, that's all you should think it is. And if you want to do more, is this okay?
I think there's nothing wrong with that, though. I think it's a tasteful way that you can be charming, respectful, all at the same time, and making sure that you are safe to kind of go through that green light. It's just. But ask somebody, are you comfortable? Checking with their comfort level as you kind of progress and making sure that they are comfortable. And it's more about like not assuming, right? I think the thing is that you assume because she came over that she wants you to go further. You assume
many L's.
Right. You can't assume. You gotta.
And those are things you need to read. Like, it happened to me back in college. Like, someone initiated everything, literally, like approached me, phone, like wanted to come over, and then it's like, no, I need to go home. I feel uncomfortable. I'm like, whoa, okay.
All of a sudden, my hands are up. Okay, all right. You want to go home, right?
Sure.
Should I drive you?
Yeah, that's it.
Pre-Uber.
Like you never know. Like and guys, when no means no. If someone feels they feel uncomfortable, if they don't want to be in that situation anymore, you immediately get them out of it. Period.
You know what else? Something that's on this topic that I think all of us did very well. If we saw that somebody was a little bit too drunk, we would be like, nah, bro, not tonight.
Yeah,
not tonight. But like that accountability is like, bro, nah, not tonight. Like let me walk her to her dorm, whatever, but like go back to the crib. And I think even back in those days, it sounds crazy, but that shit was foreign.
Yo, it's funny you say that. I remember we were in school. I'm not gonna say a person's name, but we were in college, and I think it was like after a party. And back then, I didn't really drink like I do now. Like I was always driving, so I didn't really drink like that.
So like I drink now.
Yeah, I might need to go to therapy and AA. But like then I didn't, so I was more sober at the parties and doing whatever. But then like this female called me over to her room like after the party, so I'm like, all right. Yo, she literally opened the door, took a step back, and flipped over the chair that was right by the door. Oh nah,
I'm going home.
Out of here.
This is a crazy part, right?
The ice pack and I'm out.
Yeah, no. So this is the crazy part. I stayed over, but I didn't do nothing. You know what I did? Which actually got her mad. I laughed the whole time in her face, like, yo, you really just bust your ass. She's like, are you gonna keep laughing? I'm like, yeah, actually I am, because now that shit was, who opens the door and does a whole flip over a chair? I'm like, oh nah, son. Like, she's like, nah, come on, no, here's this water. I'm gonna give you this apple. I'm gonna make sure you don't throw up on me. Here go the bucket, but I'm gonna keep laughing. I'm gonna do a little silent laugh too while you throwing up. Like,
yeah, but I think that's the stuff that, like, going back to James's point, we've never had an issue around women saying no, but we also had our own little barometers as to like, all right, now this ain't gonna work tonight. Like, we ain't gonna do this. But I think the gray area came around when the concept of direct consent, and we're like, hold on, can somebody explain this shit to us? Like, make it make sense, because we've navigated our lives. I was probably like 29 at the time. It's like I've been navigating life all the way up to this point, using what I know to be like, yellow lights, green lights, red lights, and now it's like, hold on, I gotta give a permission slip. Like, help this shit make sense to me. You know what I mean?
It was like, because in a different time, like when we're in college, it's you didn't think about saying like every step of the way asking, is this okay? It was always just implied, which I guess is not the best thing to think about. But when you, like you said, navigate your life that way, and it's always been the norm with everyone you've been with, and it's always been that. But now I think today, as people are growing up and going through those stages, or even later in life now, I think now it's implied that you should ask, is this okay to move forward? And I think now, because back then we're assuming, or girls sometimes didn't like that. They don't want you to ask,
right?
Is this like once you're in that point, not before that, you know what I mean? Once you actually, you get to that point where things are happening, they're not looking, or at that time, they're not looking to say, hey, or looking to hear from you to say, hey, is this okay? All right, now, next step, hey, is this okay? All right, now, next step, hey, is this okay? Well, right? They weren't looking for that. Now I think it's actually okay to hear that. They're okay to hear that from a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is the change and the growth of women over time, too. I think.
Yeah, their voice.
Yeah, and, you know, they want to have say in what's going on with them. And I think you don't have to, I don't know. I guess I was being a little redundant when I said ask every step of the way. But here's something to consider. I think ultimately you would know where that person feels based on how often you've caught up with that person before even attempting to have sex with that person, right? Like, build a rapport over time should allow you to have that comfort from both parties to know, you know, where we are in this current space for us to kind of push whatever the next agenda is. I think a lot of the conversation we're kind of directing sounds like either pop-offs or first-time encounters, right?
Okay. Go ahead, Kev. I'm with you.
So it's like with that. So if it's a pop-off, obviously you got to be sure. You got to make sure that this person's coming over here for the reasons that you assume that they're coming over here for, and having that real conversation. But I think if it's like somebody you're trying to get to know, take your time with that too, though. Like, I'm not trying to preach on nothing, but I would definitely say,
wait till you marry.
Yeah, if you can.
Give him some organ.
Listen, man.
Prince of Praise, everybody. Prince of Praise.
Gotta get the organ. But I think those are the dynamics, right? Those are the dynamics. Just the temperature, the climate of, you know, what's the rapport relationship like, and if it is, like I said, if it's a pop off, you know, y'all gotta be grown about it and not assume anything. You know, ask questions and ask for permission.
For our listeners, no, please no. Ask questions first. For our listeners in Idaho, a pop off means a one night stand, folks.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but like, I mean, I get you, Kevin. You're right about that. Like, obviously, the pop-off situation.
I hear a butt coming.
But because like it was a situation that happened. Like, you think you know what, like, you're someone you're in constant communication with, and you're flirting with, and things like that, and then this person asks to come over to your place like 2:00 in the morning, and it's like, okay, like, why else would someone
and naturally you were up studying. You know what I mean?
Naturally. I stayed up to study. I had a test the next time. I'm just. But you would think that like, you know,
that implies why? Because it's after hours. I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I know.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
No, Kevin, you're right.
Speak on it.
Yeah,
Kevin,
why? Because it's after midnight, and
yes. And why else would someone want to come over at 2:00 in the morning?
To study.
To go to sleep.
The fuck?
Nah, I went to different schools. I ain't, you know.
We got no classes together.
She might have just wanted to sleep next to you. I don't know. Like, she might.
She might have, Kevin. Maybe you had good snacks.
Yeah. Maybe I had some good snacks.
Yo, my room did have popping snacks though.
No, we definitely had. Like,
we had the best.
Yo,
you know, women use us for food sometimes, and that's okay.
I had nothing. I was at Hazelhurst. Fridge was empty.
Because we knew you had guests that was eating all, but we
you had cable though. See, she didn't have cable at the door.
Your TV was big, bro.
You had that flash. Yeah, you did have that. You did have a 42 joint.
I must have had the flash screens back in the day.
It might have been a 48.
So
Nah,
Kevin,
I
I
don't think it
think
was
we're
that
making a point that she made
What?
it came
Hold
up for
on.
the amenities. Maybe.
Nah, there was no amenities, man. I had a terrible
What?
bed. I had like
Hotel.
I'm just saying, I get it. Everything that you're saying is true, right? You can never assume. That's the point of the story is that you can never assume, even though you may know someone and you've been in constant communications and you think everything is cool, and then they want to come over at a certain time of night, and then boom, it's
nothing.
like, nah, like chill. It's like, oh, okay, my bad.
You know what's
Got the
crazy?
wrong message.
What's crazy is Dave Chappelle was ahead of his time. I don't know if y'all remember on Chappelle's show, he had like the sex contract. And you had the sign.
Yeah.
And then he threw the condom in the thing.
It's like Kobe.
Like it's crazy. Like he was ahead of his time, yo. Like he seen this coming. Like that's.
But I think celebrities had this issue. I mean, you spoke about Mike Tyson earlier.
Yeah.
Celebrities had this issue long before, where there's a he versus he said and a she said. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so, because women's voices have been stifled for a long time. It's more, and you think you should understand why women feel like if I speak up, I want you to listen to me. So I can understand why the courts more or less side in the way of the woman. But sometimes for the women or the people who have lied in those situations, you need to have something that says this was consensual. Like we agreed to this, and I think that's where NDAs come up. Like, we are both agreeing and this is what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And celebrities had that issue back in the 80s, probably even before.
Nas had a song about it when we was in high school. Remember that song, Dr. Knock
Boot? Yeah.
But today, every person on camera, like, hey, I'm just going to record to say that you're saying that this is okay. You wanted to do this and nothing is being forced. Now, obviously, that could be admissible too. You can be like, you forced me to do this video.
Right.
But at least you might have something that, maybe someone can analyze it to show that they weren't under stress or anything like that.
What's the man version of Miranda? Miranda rights. Got to read her Miranda rights and shit. Miranda rights. But what we're saying is we don't know shit, honestly. We still learning. And I think that this shows that, like, I don't know how many degrees we have between all of us, but we consider ourselves to be intelligent, to be educated, to be, to observe things well. And there are some things that we just don't fucking know. So before you cancel the next person, just try to educate them versus just canceling them, because no matter what you perceive somebody to have or to do or to represent, they may be void of certain information. And we're just here to learn and to pass the information on. Yep. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Zoe for the Serenity Prayer so we can get on out of here.
And as always, my brothers, it's a good time hanging with y'all, a good time talking, going over. And we covered a lot of ground tonight of all different kinds. So we always want to say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Amen.
And with that being said, we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one.
Peace.